Do you know what companies are actually hiring for in 2026? It's not what most career advice tells you. Companies are paying 56% more for professionals with AI skills, but the skills they want have almost nothing to do with building AI and everything to do with how you work alongside it. So in this video, I'm going to break down what's actually changed, the 3 mistakes that are costing people their careers right now, and the framework that keeps you ahead of it. The way career planning used to work was straightforward. You picked a specialty, got the right credentials, built experience in that lane, and every 5 to 7 years, you updated your skills to stay current. That model worked because skills stayed relevant long enough for the investment to pay off. In 2026, that timeline no longer works. The 2026 IT Career Outlook report found that 54% of professional skills will be transformed by AI adoption, and those skills will be outdated in less than 3 years. That means if you spent 6 months earning a credential in 2024, the skill it certified may already be less valuable than it was when you started. And companies aren't just adding AI tools to existing roles and calling it a day. They're restructuring entire departments around what AI makes possible. 39% of companies that reduced headcount in 2025 cited increased technology use as the primary reason. The reason wasn't recession or offshoring or traditional cost cutting. Technology made certain roles produce less value than they used to, and the positions were eliminated. The restructuring is happening at the department level, not the individual level, which means it doesn't matter how good you are at your current job if the job itself is being redesigned around you. I watched a marketing department go from 12 people to 7 in 1 quarter, and not a single person was fired for poor performance. The team was restructured because AI tools made it possible for 7 people to produce the same output that previously required 12. The 5 who left weren't bad at their jobs. They were in roles that no longer justified a full-time salary when AI could handle 60% of the workload. The people who stayed were the ones who had already integrated AI into how they worked, which meant leadership saw them as part of the new structure instead of part of the old one. That's the part most career advice misses entirely. The question isn't, how do I get better at what I do? It's, is what I do still going to exist in this form 2 years from now? And if the answer to that question makes you uncomfortable, I'll explain what companies are actually looking for instead. AI-related skills now appear in 78% of IT job postings, but AI skills doesn't mean what most professionals assume it means. Companies aren't looking for more people who can build AI. They're looking for people who can work alongside it effectively, and the difference between those two things is enormous. The shift that's happening across every industry is from manual execution to oversight, judgment, and ownership. Companies want fewer people who do more, supported by AI, and the professionals who understand that shift are earning 56% more than those who don't. That premium isn't for knowing how to use ChatGPT. It's for being the person who knows what to do with what ChatGPT produces. Someone who can generate a financial analysis with AI in 10 minutes is useful. Someone who can generate that analysis, identify which assumptions are wrong, adjust the model based on context the AI doesn't have, and present the conclusions to a board in a way that drives a decision is irreplaceable. The line that should concern every professional right now is this one: prompting without judgment is easily replaceable. If your relationship with AI is, I type a question and copy the output, that skill has a shelf life measured in months because everyone can do it, and the tools keep getting easier to use. The professionals who are getting promoted and surviving restructurings are the ones who treat AI as a decision support tool, not a shortcut. They use it to move faster, but the judgment, the context, and the accountability still come from them. And the reason most career plans fail to account for this is that they're built around the wrong mistakes. The first mistake is treating AI as something you'll learn eventually. Every month you wait, your colleagues are building workflows around AI that make them faster and more visible. By the time you get around to it, the comparison isn't between you and AI. It's between you and the version of your coworker who's been using AI for the last 6 months. The cost of waiting isn't that you fall behind on a skill. It's that the people around you set a new baseline for what normal output looks like, and you're still operating at the old one. I've seen this play out in consulting firms where one analyst started using AI to draft client deliverables 6 months before the rest of the team. By the time everyone else caught on, that analyst was already producing at twice the speed and had been promoted to lead the team's AI integration. The window of advantage closes fast. The second mistake is learning AI in isolation, taking an online course, earning a certification, adding a badge to your LinkedIn, and then going back to doing your job exactly the same way as before. The credential looks nice, but if it doesn't change your actual output, it didn't change your career trajectory. 50% of employers in a 2026 survey said the primary obstacle to hiring wasn't pay or benefits. It was that applicants lacked relevant experience. And 26% 20% said they struggled to evaluate candidates' self-taught or informal skills at all. That means the market values demonstrated results over credentials. And a certification without a visible change in how you work is a credential without results. The third mistake is doubling down on execution skills that AI already handles. If your primary value to your company is, I produce reports, or I write copy, or I clean and organize data, the question leadership is already asking is why that function costs $120,000 a year when AI does it in minutes. That doesn't mean those tasks disappear. It means the person who does them needs to do more than execute. They need to interpret, decide, and own the outcome, because the execution part is no longer the hard part. The common thread across all three mistakes is the same. The problem isn't ignoring AI, it's learning AI without changing how you work. And the framework that fixes this is simpler than you'd expect. Stop planning your career around job titles and start planning it around capabilities that get more valuable as AI gets better. There are three capabilities that showed up in every restructuring I've watched over the last year. And in every case, the people who had them kept their seats. The first is decision-making under ambiguity. AI gives you options, data, and analysis faster than any human could produce them, but it can't decide which option is right for your specific context, your specific client, or your specific market. The person who can take AI's output and make the call that moves the business forward is the one leadership trusts during uncertainty, because AI can generate 5 strategic options in 30 seconds, but it can't tell you which one your board will approve. The second is cross-functional translation, the ability to understand the data and explain it to the board, the client, or the engineering team in language that drives action. AI can generate the analysis. It cannot walk into a room and convince a skeptical CFO to change direction based on what the analysis shows. That skill is human, and it's getting more valuable because AI is producing more analysis than ever, which means more of it needs to be translated into decisions that people actually act on. The third is system design, not software systems, but workflow systems. The ability to look at a process your team runs and redesign it so that AI handles the execution and humans handle the judgment. The person who can architect that division of labor is the person who makes everyone around them more productive. And that's the profile companies are promoting right now. Every restructuring I've seen over the past year followed the same pattern. The person who designed how the team would use AI kept their seat. The person who was still doing the work AI could do faster did not. These three capabilities aren't about knowing AI. They're about knowing your domain deeply enough that AI makes you better instead of making you redundant. And turning this framework into action is more practical than it sounds. The first step is to pick one workflow you run every week and rebuild it with AI in the loop. Not as a side experiment, not as a weekend project, but as the actual way you do that task going forward. If you write weekly reports, build the first draft with AI and spend your time on the analysis and recommendations instead of the formatting. If you review contracts, upload them to an AI tool and focus on the judgment calls instead of the page-by-page reading. If you prepare meeting briefs, let AI pull the context and spend your time on the strategic framing. The point isn't to save time. The point is to shift your effort from execution to judgment, because that shift is what makes you harder to replace. The second step is to learn to evaluate AI output, not just generate it. The skill that matters in 2026 isn't getting AI to produce something. It's knowing when the output is wrong, when it's missing context, and when it's technically correct but strategically off. That evaluation skill is what companies mean when they say AI fluency, and it only develops through daily use on work that matters to you, not through courses about AI in the abstract. A good test is whether you can explain why you changed something AI produced. If you can say, the analysis was directionally right, but it missed our Q2 churn spike because that data wasn't in the context, so I adjusted the projection manually. That's the evaluation skill in action. If you just copy the output and send it, that's the skill AI is about to replace. The third step is to document what you build. When restructuring hits, and it will, the person who can show, I reduced this process from 4 hours to 45 minutes by redesigning the workflow with AI, has leverage that credentials cannot match. One visible outcome with a measurable result is worth more than 5 certifications on LinkedIn, because it proves you didn't just learn about AI, you used it to produce a result the company can measure. And the fourth step is to stop collecting credentials and start collecting results. Every hour you spend on a course that doesn't change your daily output is an hour you could have spent building a workflow that proves your value in the next performance review or the next restructuring conversation. Your career insurance in 2026 isn't a certificate, it's a portfolio of results that prove you make the company more efficient, more accurate, and more competitive with AI in the loop. And if you want to accelerate how fast you pick up AI skills so you can start building that portfolio now, I made a complete breakdown on how to learn AI faster than you thought possible right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.